Hey, it's Vanessa, the Crafty Gemini, and I'm here in Missouri with Jenny Doan of the Missouri Start Quilt Company. Fabulous. I love this place. Thanks for having me over.
It's so fun.
So we're going to start asking Jenny some questions that we got in from our Facebook fans here on my page, and some of my fans want to know.
What do the fans want to know?
They want to know. Let's see. They want to know. Let me pull up a question here. This one is from Jennifer, and she says, how many quilt stores are in Hamilton, Missouri now, and how many more might there be? How many stores do you guys have here?
I think we have, 5 open, 6 open maybe, and actually we'll probably have a dozen open when it's all said and done.
And so what are these stores of, so people that don't know or haven't been to town?
Well, it's really cool because we didn't know we were actually like redoing the town. Somebody said, you're redoing the town. We're like, we are, because we just thought we got too much fabric, so we bought an old abandoned building, fixed it up, put fabric in there. Then we got too much fabric, so we bought another building and fixed it up. So we actually have right now, we have the Mercantile, which has Civil War and 30s fabric in it. We have a holiday shop, which is all things holiday. We have a solids shop, which is solids and reorderable. So anything that is like dots, stripes, stars.
Like the essentials, kind of the fabric manufacturers.
All the essential lines is in, and that's a pretty big shop. We also have a boutique shop. Which
I went in there, the floor is like a boutique.
I know,
that
it's so cool.
Cute.
Isn't
it?
it?
Really cool.
That's actually been one of the fun things for me because we actually get to decorate the shop around the fabric.
Around the fabric.
So like the Civil War is full of old trunks and prams and all the
furniture. They have like their own look.
Yeah, the children stole all the furniture out of my living room. You know, I mean, it's just like it's just like one of those. But then we also have our main shop, which is you know, just everything else. I know they're working on right now a shop of what is it called?
The licensed stuff.
The licensed stuff, yes, thank you. My poor brain.
I remember.
So the license, so it's all the licensed stuff, and it's like all the schools and the colleges and Superman and
Disney type stuff.
Disney stuff, yeah, anything like that is going to be in there, and I think that's going to be really fun for people because generally that stuff isn't all located in one place. So you know, we have a bunch of other ideas. We're talking, we're thinking about a children's shop and lots of fun different ideas. So I'm not exactly sure how many we'll end up with, but it'll be around a dozen, I would imagine,
or more.
Or more. Maybe we'll break out of Main Street.
They're taking over. If you've never been here, take a trip. It's definitely worth it.
It is awesome.
It is. All right, so let me ask you another question. This one comes from Venus, and she wants to know, how did you start quilting and how long have you been quilting?
Well, I started quilting out of desperation because when you love to sew, you have to keep sewing. And my children wouldn't let me dress them in matching clothing anymore, so I had to come up with another outlet.
They wouldn't?
They all grew up and left home, yes. They wouldn't wear matching clothing. And so I was actually a costume designer before I was
fabulous.
a quilter. And so when we moved to Missouri, nobody needed a costume designer in our little town. So somebody said, well, you should take a quilting class. And seriously, my first comment was, old people do that. And then I went and took the class, and number one, it was not true. Number two, hands down, the single most creative thing I've ever done is quilting. I mean, you take one square and you turn it and you have a whole new something.
Yep.
I just love it. So I've been quilting now for about 20 years.
Wow. Cool.
Yeah, it's very, very, very cool for me. I love it.
Very rewarding and
addicting.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely, I agree with that. Let's see another question here. This one comes from Kathy, and Kathy wants to know: do you have a quilting studio or room at your home, or do you only get to quilt and sew for your job?
So, well, I get to quilt whenever I want to because I'm the boss of me.
That helps. Yep.
But I have a studio here at the shop, and our shop actually used to be a man's clothing store, and it was called Man's Land, and my studio is all the way in the back, and it was a barber shop, and I think that's pretty dang good marketing for the day, in the day when they had that old shop. But I also have, I finally gave myself permission to take over one of the bedrooms at home, and I just really recently put all my sewing stuff in there and around. I haven't actually sewn in there yet because I'm a dining room table sewer. You bring
it out.
When you're a mom, you got to know what's going on all the time.
Got to see everybody, all the kids out.
So I've always sewn at the dining room table, but now that their kids are gone, I thought, well, first I put my stuff in the small bedroom, but it didn't really fit, so I had to move it to the big bedroom. So I took over the big bedroom, and that's actually really hard because you have to move out those beds. Like I gave away the bunk beds to my son that the kids had always slept in.
Those memories.
Yeah, everything has to go, and so I actually rearranged that room. But and it's fairly decent. But probably 90% of the time I sew here because I'm here. This is what I sew for.
Okay, cool. Let's see. This one comes from Anna, and she wants to know: has there ever been a design or something where you look at it and you're just like, I don't even want to try that?
Well, most everything that I do really I have to be able to fit it to a pre-cut. And so if I think that it's going to be too confusing, you know, I love the big finish and I love the fast finish.
Got it.
And so, so I'm not really about intricate and hard. Like I've never ever wanted. I've always thought a Mariner Star is really cool, but I don't see myself.
You can appreciate it, but you have no interest in.
Right, and the other reason for that is I am not an art quilter. I am a practical quilter, so I want my quilts used and loved and drugged through the dirt and taken out to a picnic and worn as a cape. You know, and a lot of times I think quilters overthink themselves and they make this fabulous, beautiful thing that we all think is beautiful, but we put it on a shelf because we don't want to hurt it. And I don't want that for my quilts. I want my quilts.
You're just like me. I throw them down. People are like, "You're putting it on the dirt." I'm like, "It's a picnic quilt. That's what I made it for."
That's right. It's okay.
Great. Next one. Let's see. This one comes from Claudia. She wants to know, are you guys thinking of hosting a weekend quilting retreat here for beginners?
We actually are. We have one actually coming up. Most everything I do is beginner
friendly.
Beginner friendly.
For beginners.
So what I do looks like you worked hard, but you didn't work hard. I mean, it makes you look amazing without working too hard, I guess I should say.
And so where is it going to be here? Like what?
It'll be at the retreat center.
So you guys have a retreat center?
We have a retreat center. It sleeps like 40 women.
Wow.
They rent it by the night. And we do, Missouri Star does 3 retreats a month.
A month?
Yeah, and and the retreats are like 3 or 4 days.
Cool.
So we have the retreat center booked up for probably 12 days out of the month. The rest of the month, like guilds will come in and rent it for a couple of days or things like that. You know, other people use it, but we are doing a really basic beginner retreat that's coming up. We are also we do like we'll do a retreat based around charms or based, you know, half square triangle retreat.
To show people what all they can do with these specific pre-cuts.
Yeah, and everything I do is easy, so it really is beginner.
Yeah.
As long as you can run a sewing machine.
It's so straight, you know, for the most part.
Yeah. For the most part.
For the most part, you can get away. And let me see. I think I'm just going to ask you one more question here. I think I got some questions on Instagram too, so let's look up there.
This is so fun.
So this one comes from a user on Instagram, and she wants to know, what has been the most rewarding part of quilting for you? Are there any health benefits that you found?
Well, actually, that probably is the most rewarding thing for me. So what I've discovered, you know, I travel all over the world and teach, and I teach to a lot of women. I mean, it's oftentimes big crowds. And the thing that has surprised me, one of the things that surprised me the most, is that probably 70 to 80% of people come to quilting because they've suffered a loss. So they've lost a job, they've lost their health, they've lost a spouse, they've lost a child, they've lost a grant, they've lost something, and creating is healing. When you can create something, you begin to heal. And you know, when I first started this and we started getting letters, my first letters came from and I thought, in my mind, it was going to help women who worked and women with kids that didn't have time to go take a class. And so this was going to benefit them. Then what happened was the letters started coming, but the letters came from women who were handicapped, the very first ones, who had never been able, they couldn't get out of the house, they couldn't take their, you know, all their paraphernalia, they didn't have a car, whatever it was, and all of a sudden they could make something. And so I got letters from women who were handicapped and women with MS and a man with agoraphobia, and then other countries, you know, where they don't have what we have. And so for me, that was probably one of the things that surprised me the most, because the whole time, like you and I know, what we think we're doing is sewing. And really what's happening is people's lives are changing, because when you can teach somebody a skill, it changes their life.
You got it.
And I mean, for me, I have goosebumps. I know.
It's such a rewarding.
It's so rewarding. And I really wasn't expecting that. I just, in my mind, it's like, I just thought I was sewing, you know.
Well, you know, what a lot of people don't understand too is, as people who create videos, it's just us talking into a camera.
Right.
So oftentimes it's like me in my studio by myself. So what I'm doing, this is all I know, and I'm showing it to share it with somebody. So you know there's people watching because we see the numbers and the comments, but you don't actually know the individual humans that are watching and how you're affecting them. So when we start to get these testimonials or these emails back, you're like, wow, I did that. Wow, just from that video? Wow. You know, because we couldn't have possibly anticipated that was going to come when we were like teaching you how to do this little thing.
Well, and this is really what I try to explain to women when I go and talk to them and see them, because when they invite somebody to their guild, or they teach somebody how to sew on a button, or they say to somebody, watch this video, you can do this, they've just changed a life.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we really are changing the world a stitch at a time. I don't think anybody realized, and it really, this is the only hobby I know of that happens in. You know, anything else you do, you know, like you can, you know, time against yourself or get better or whatever it is you're doing, it's really still a hobby. But when you quilt, not only are you making heirlooms, but you change lives at the same time. And that for me is sweet, really sweet.
Love it.
Love it.
Quilters rock.
Yes, we do. We all. Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Jenny.
You are
it
so
was
welcome.
So much fun
This is
to have
fun.
you here. And I hope you guys enjoyed this quick little interview with Jenny Doan of the Missouri Star Quilt Company.